Thank you for tuning into our podcast. We are coming to you from Chicopee, Massachusetts. I'm your host, Carrie, and joining me is Holyoke's very own local historian and creator of the historical tours of Greater Holyoke, Robert Como. And he offers both public and private tours, as well as presentations of the local canal systems, reservoirs, cemeteries, and churches, as well as various parks and streets in Holyoke, South Hadley, and Chicopee, Mass. Now, you actually lead these tours and give these presentations yourself, is that correct?
That's correct.
And so today he'll be educating us on Gormally Conservation Area. So, what is the trail system like in the Gormally Conservation?
Alright. On this trail, it's very simple. All you do is loop around the area. And it's not really to walk on in the sense to go for a hike. It's more in the sense that it's a nice nature place and you can see bird life and other wildlife. And that's why most people go there. It's a place where a lot of wetland is, and then beyond is a lot of cropland. So you gotta be ready for that wetland because a lot of water flows here in April, May, and then October. So you gotta be dressed for the occasion. Now, to get to it, you go onto the Stonegate Road, and the Stonegate is very easy to find. It's going to be off to the right, and it's bracketed by other places, such as McRae's Farm is to the far right, and they've been able to preserve this land, and that's great because it's a nice little place where no one can build on this kind of land. There's too much wetland around. And so people can go down here and do whatever they want. And I'll talk about what the reasons they go there for and some other details. And also how they could be improved. But one big improvement is make sure that it has signs at some point that can really help out.
And what is the major reason this Gormally Conservation exists?
Okay, it exists because they put on it restrictions, conservation restrictions, because so much wildlife is crossing at this point. Remember, it's surrounded by a lot of nature preserves, a lot of farmland. It's pretty close to the Connecticut River by a third of a mile or so. And it's also preserved because it's all wetland, and you cannot build on this wetland. And it's also beyond is McRae's Farm, and of course you're not going to build there. That itself is also a restricted land. And so this is almost like a viewscape. Almost all of Albert Street is, and I'm glad that part of Stonegate Street gets to have this. Now,
Before we continue with the rest of this interview, just to fill our listeners in, if you want to find out more information or sign up for any of his various tours, you can check out his website at holyokecanaltour.org. And there he has both videos of the various stops along each tour and also past and present photos of the historical sites throughout as well. And if you're interested in setting up a private tour, you can email him directly at bobcat4214B@yahoo.com. And they are perfect for fun and educational outdoor activities for the whole family or for your group parties, especially those special occasions and get-togethers. They're also good just for getting outdoors for the day. So getting back to our interview, give us some of the formal details about the Gormally Conservation Land.
okay, it's about 7 acres. An acre is about a football field, so this is about 7 football fields big, which is great. The trail inside of it is a lot smaller, but you can bushwhack through some of it, especially in the seasons when not much vegetation. But again, the whole goal is to bird wash mostly. And also, just park on the Stonegate Road, and you get to see. There's a lot of parking. Hardly anyone goes to this conservation area, but you'll get to see inside of it that it looks like a former farmland. That's because it was, and it's been allowed to go into its original state, which is a nature preserve or conservation area.
And what can be done to improve this conservation land?
Okay, now this is the big situation. I wish to have signage to point out maybe there's a salamander crossing here, and point out which salamanders do cross here. Or maybe there's certain birds that like to nest here in certain trees. Or maybe there's certain trees that are very common here, or some that aren't very common but are here, and you should be pointing that out. This area needs some improvement, and also make a trail that's a defined trail that loops around here, so people can go around. Maybe make it a rectangular trail, just like the shape of the conservation area, so people can really get used to being around an area, seeing the wetlands, and explaining to people why there's even wetlands. This would be great because most people might not agree with all conservation lands, and to have them get used to certain areas being such, you really have to get them to appreciate, and this is a good point for that, because very quickly you reach, a certain grove of trees, a certain wetland area, then a hillock area, and a certain area with certain kinds of birds. A lot of diversity inside this conservation area. Thank you.
And thank you, Robert, for educating us on your tours. And we want to thank our listeners for tuning in. And you can also tune into a large selection of our other podcasts and much more at his website. Again, that's hoyokenailtour.org. And again, you can email him directly for private tours or to inquire about anything else at bobcat4214, capital B, at yahoo.com. And be sure to keep an eye out for his upcoming 2024 season tours and more as they become available. Thank you.